So something we would normally find very boring is happening this week, and there's two things that are going to be discussed that we have to be paying attention to. The DNC is meeting all week long to adopt resolutions. So what that means is the Democratic Party is adopting positions. And if you're going to run on the Democratic ticket, then these are also going to be your positions. And once you're elected, you're going to vote in this way. Boring, except for two agenda items. The first one having to do with Israel, the second having to do with dark money behind campaigns. So Resolution 18 was submitted to be voted on by the 450 members, and it would recognize the Palestine state. It would call for a ceasefire. It would call for an arms embargo, and it would call for the suspension of Israeli aid, so long as they keep behaving in this way. So in response, the pro-Israel part of the party, which is a huge part of the party, submitted Resolution 3, which would simply call for a ceasefire, which is all they've already been doing, and nobody's listening, and call for the release of Israeli hostages, which is all they've been doing already. And here's the situation that they're in. Only 9% of Democratic voters, we're talking 9% of tens of millions of voters, agree with what we are doing for Israel and what Israel is doing to Palestine. Only 9%. So they have a big problem there. And this is huge that they're going to be voting on this. So we got to pay attention to the results. The other one is dark money in politics. And it's specifically that money that comes from unscrupulous sources in the millions and millions of dollars at the last minute to push a centrist Democrat over the finish line, and it's usually only progressive candidates that lose every single time. Think about all the dark money that got injected into Cuomo's campaign in New York City at the very last minute. He ended up losing, and now he's running again as an independent, but that's the dark money that we're talking about. That's going to be an important thing to vote on. The challenge there is that Republicans are still accepting hundreds of millions of dollars in dark money, which is nothing but pure corruption that hurts every single American. And for us to say, no, we're not going to take any of that money is going to be a problem. So this resolution just focuses on Democratic primaries to not help the centrist Democrat always beat the progressive. And that when it comes to the presidential campaigns, it'll be a completely different story. So anyway, end of the week, we'll have to find out how they voted. We're paying attention.